Bare Knuckle, the Bare Knuckle by Kershaw. I have the 20CV version. That's a Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive. And this is my first Kershaw Bare Knuckle and my first blade in CPM-20CV. Let's check out the action. The action on this knife is amazing. It has broken in quite nicely. Now, when you first get this, when I first got mine, may vary depending on the knife, but it was extremely stiff. The detent, you really gotta kind of romp it, and it was smooth though. You know, the ball bearing, I believe it's a KVT ball bearing system by Kershaw. You know, that part is smooth. I'm pretty sure it came pretty fall shutty, pretty drop shutty, where, you know, the action from depressing the lock bar, or actually this would be the subframe lock bar, you know, once you depress that, the blade falls pretty well, and that did break in smoother than original, but it was still pretty smooth to begin with. So now the detent does not seem as stiff. It could be that I just got used to it, or maybe it has broken in, but as far as that goes, you know, like I said, maybe I'm just used to it now, and I know the correct angle and pull and everything you got to give it to just get it to go. I never really had too much of an issue with actually trying to press it and it not going out at all. I think that only happened once or twice, and that, you know, maybe it is just the angle that you gotta, you know, some knives with the flipper tab you gotta pull back, sometimes you gotta push. This one is kind of a combination of a push and pull, where you still pull but you push at the same time, push down like a button. And maybe that's why initially it felt stiff, because it is a little bit different of a action of initiating the action of opening this knife. So like I said, I have the 20CV version. The original version is 14C28N, I believe. You can get a couple different variants, running about 70, 80, 88 bucks, somewhere around there. I believe you get you can get a green handle, the stonewash blade, or you can get, I believe you can get a gray handle, and the handles are aluminum. I believe it is anodized aluminum. But the 20CV, this one from Smoky Mountain Knife Works, had two options. It had the black aluminum handles with a lightly stonewashed blade, or the black aluminum handles with I believe it was a DLC blade. There is another 20CV option you can get from knifecenter.com. They offer kind of burnt bronze, burnt gold. I believe they call it a flat dark earth, but to me it looks like a burnt bronze handle, aluminum still. And then the DLC 20CV blade, and that one is about 120 bucks, I believe, at this point. I got this around 90 bucks. I had a $10 off coupon. I think it had something to do with a first order, and so normally I think it might be around 99 bucks, somewhere around there. And then the DLC coated blade is, I think, $10 more or so, but it is an excellent knife. And like I said, whether it's it breaking in or me just understanding how to break through that detent better, it is a lot smoother than initially. And this is one of my favorite knives. I do have a handful of knives, mostly in S30V, S35VN. I do have one S90V, but you know, I have mostly I have like the sub premium or the premium steel blades. I don't really buy the cheap stuff. I do have, you know, like one or two knives in, you know, a little bit cheaper materials, but nothing too cheap. I really don't like cheaper knives with you know, subpar steels. Not that I'm a steel snob, I just really like the hardness of what some of these higher end steels have to offer, and I like how they hold an edge and they perform. And yeah, pretty much that's it. The anodizing, I believe it's the anodizing of the aluminum, has held up pretty well. I did experiment with free-handing sharpening a few of my knives last year and kind of learning how to do that. And some of the knives, the design when you're freehanding, the frame or the handles will kind of get in the path of the stone. Like for me, I was trying to do a little bit of a steeper angle with this knife, and I did achieve slightly steeper of an angle. You know, it might be around 16 or 17 degrees or so. It's not perfect, it's not exact. It isn't very convex, it is pretty flat, but I do have some buffing with some strop material I still got to do. But yeah, overall this cut's really good. The design of the actual blade is excellent. It is very, very, very utilitarian, and it cuts very well. It's very comfortable in the hand. There's no choil here, so you kind of just gotta hold it back. But you can kind of pinch hold it up higher, or if you want to hold your index finger back, you can still get up on the blade, or even do something like this, where you're kind of using it like there would be a choil, but a little bit differently. You know, you're doing that index finger thing. There's quite a few different ways you can use this knife, and overall I'm really pleased with it, especially for the price. Made in the USA. Got the American flag logo there. The lockup is excellent. I mean, that's got to be more than 50%. And yeah, what I was saying about the sharpening stone and freehanding, if you're doing a lower angle, sometimes the handle material will scrape against the stone. That's what that is there. And yeah, this 20CV is really takes quite a long time to try and sharpen freehanded, at least in my experience. And I feel like I wasn't too upset because of the price of the knife isn't too bad. It was less than $100. I'm very happy with this overall. And I believe it's called the bare knuckle because, you know, the handle is almost smaller than the blade itself. But this is like the magical part of this knife. I don't know how they did it. Just look at the handle and look at the blade. Look at how large that blade is compared to the handle. How did they get this to fold in there without sticking out? I mean, it is up a little bit close, but still, you're never gonna, I've never got any material or anything, fingers, nothing has ever touched the blade once it's in there. It's awesome design. It's a very cool design, and snaps out really well, locks up every time. It's fairly thin, fairly light, and I just really love this knife. It's pretty well balanced. It's somewhere a little bit right pretty much where that notch is. It's where that balance point is, so that's cool. But yeah, one thing also noted, you'll see there's a cutout in the blade. You might be able to see it more when you open it up. So you see how the blade, the jimping goes back here? There's like a little moon-shaped crescent cutout which goes up to that stop pin, and I believe the blade rests on the stop pin just as the subframe lock bar locks into place, which is really cool. I don't know if that cutout, you know, affects the rigidity of the blade, the strength of the blade. That's something that I might want to look into, see if anyone has had any broken blades, because the crescent cutout does go in quite a bit of ways. It goes in quite a bit. Let's see, maybe I can get a light out here. Yeah, it does go in there quite a bit, but I've never had any issues with blade flex or feeling like this is going to break. I don't use my knives for prying. Primarily use my blades for cutting boxes, packaging, opening things up, cutting boxes down, things like that. So this has been one of my favorite blades. As of last year, it's one of my favorite that I bought last year. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks.